Yo, what's up, Daily Show fam? Tonight, we're diving deep into some real talk, the escalating tension between China and the Philippines. Now, we're all about peace here, but the situation is heating up over territorial disputes in the South China Sea. It's like that awkward moment when your siblings fight over the last slice of pizza, except this involves warships and international law. China has been flexing its muscles, claiming almost the entire South China Sea as its own, while the Philippines, along with other Southeast Asian nations, are like, hold up, we beg to differ. See, this ain't just about some lines on a map. It's about fishing rights, natural resources, and who gets to call the shots in the region. The Philippines, being a smaller nation, is feeling the pressure. They're looking to allies like the US for support, but let's be real, nobody wants to see this escalate into a full-blown conflict. The big question is, what happens if things go south? And by south, I mean war. Spoiler alert, it ain't gonna be pretty. Okay, let's break it down, people. War ain't good for business. In fact, it's terrible for business, especially for ordinary Filipinos. Imagine this. Tourism, a major moneymaker for the Philippines, goes kaput overnight. Nobody's trying to catch a tan on a beach with warships on the horizon. Trade with China, a huge trading partner, comes to a screeching halt. Essential goods become scarce and prices skyrocket. The Philippine peso takes a nosedive, making everyday life a struggle. Job losses? You better believe it. Factories shut down, businesses crumble, and unemployment shoots through the roof. And let's not forget about the cost of war itself. Weapons, military spending. That's money that could be used for education, healthcare, the important stuff. Here's the thing about war, folks. It hits the most vulnerable the hardest. We're talking about the youth, already facing limited opportunities, now staring down the barrel of a bleak future. Education gets disrupted, dreams are shattered, and many are forced to flee their homes, becoming refugees in their own country. And the poor? Forget about it. They're already living on the margins, barely scraping by. War throws them into a spiral of despair, with no safety net to catch them. Food shortages, lack of access to healthcare, and displacement become the norm. Imagine being a parent struggling to feed your kids with bombs going off in the distance. That's the reality of war, and it's a nightmare scenario for millions of Filipinos. Section 4. Politics of war power, control, and corruption. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, politics. Sadly, war often becomes a convenient excuse for those in power to consolidate their grip and silence dissent. Martial law could be declared, restricting freedoms and giving the government sweeping powers. And you know what happens when there's less oversight and accountability? Corruption thrives. Politicians and their cronies could exploit the chaos, diverting funds meant for war relief into their own pockets. It's a tale as old as time. Those who suffer the most are the ones who have the least power, while those in charge often benefit from the chaos. Section 5. The urgency of peace, a call for diplomacy. Look, the bottom line is this. War is not the answer. It's a lose-lose situation for everyone involved, especially for ordinary Filipinos. The potential consequences, economic devastation, human suffering, and political instability, are too dire to ignore. Instead of rattling sabers, China and the Philippines need to find a peaceful resolution through dialogue and diplomacy. The international community must also step up, urging both sides to exercise restraint and find common ground. Remember, peace is not just the absence of conflict. It's about creating a world where everyone can thrive, where differences are resolved through words, not weapons. Let's choose peace, not just for the Philippines and China, but for the sake of humanity. And that's our show for tonight. Stay tuned, stay woke, and let's work together to build a more peaceful future.